Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Look what I got in the mail. I got the Arteza 120 count of Everblend art markers, and Arteza did send these to me to do a review, and that's what I'm going to do. So I previously did probably, I would say, I don't know, September or October. I did a review on their 60 count Everblend art markers, and I really liked them. However, I did find that I needed more colors. So I was really excited to take a look at the 120 count marker set because I want to see all of the colors that are included in this set. And this is their largest set. Now these markers are alcohol markers, so they are blendable markers. So if you ever wanted to use your markers to blend, these are some markers that you can do that with. Now, I will also say that these markers are a more inexpensive form of alcohol markers than Copics. Copics are on the top of the line and they're pretty expensive. They're usually like $7 or $8 a marker for the Copics, whereas these are more reasonably priced. And I have a few videos up on my YouTube channel where I have used these markers to do some coloring. I will link those down below so you can take a look at that. I will also link down below the 60 count review that I did for the Arteza 60 count marker pack. Now this pack, the 120 pack, it is on their website for $90.99. Now that's the price that I'm looking at right now as I film this video. It is showing that the list price is $125.99. So I'm assuming that that is a sale price, but I will link those products down below so you can take a look at that. The 60 count marker set is showing up as $62.99, regularly $89.99. So that's showing on sale too. So when I release this video, I don't know if they will be on sale. You'll just have to take a look at that if you're interested in these markers. So when you turn this over, there's just a little bit of information here on the back regarding the markers. So this is the 120 count markers. They come in unique colors. They are blendable and alcohol-based ink. They have replaceable tips. So if for some reason the tip happens to wear off, and that has never happened to me before, ever, even with Copic markers, they do have replacement tips that are for sale on their website. They are non-toxic. And it does come in this carry case, which I will show you, and it does have 144 elastic slots. I also want to let you know that these markers are not refillable, whereas the Copic markers are. If you run out of ink in the Copic markers, you can refill them by buying refills. These are not refillable. However, Arteza does sell replacement markers on their website. So if you have a color that you use a lot and you happen to run out, you can go to their website and you can go to the Everblend art markers. These are the classic tones. They also have gray tones and skin tones that they sell replacement for. And then if you click the down arrow, all of the colors are listed, so you can find the color that you want. And then it comes in a 4-pack, so you actually get 4 of those particular markers, and you can add those to the cart. So those are $7.99 for a set of 4. So what I love about these markers is that they come in this sturdy carrying case. And the case, it has these clips on the front, 2 clips on the front, and then it has the Velcro. So that's how it opens. But before I open that, I do want to show you, let's go ahead and look at the top. The top has a handle, and it has these clips here that you can actually take this off. This is a long shoulder strap with a piece right here for your shoulder. You can adjust it, it's adjustable, and these can come off if you don't want to use the shoulder strap and you just want to use the carrying case. And then real quick, just let's take a look at the back side. It does have a zipper compartment, so if you had some stamped images that you wanted just to store in here, let's say on a single sheet, it's not very thick, but you can get away with putting in some single sheets of paper. So you can see how far it opens. That way, if you are going to a crop or you're traveling and you want to put some stamped images, or even maybe a small coloring book might fit in there, you can do that. All right, so let's go ahead and open this. Look at all of those colors. Look at that gorgeous rainbow of colors. Isn't that beautiful? So there are, it looks like they have them, I don't even know if these are in order or not, but it's got some browns and it goes into the grays. It looks like it might be in color order, but I am not certain. Purples, blues, greens. Okay, and then it comes here with the pinks, and it looks like there's some extra slots here that if you had extra markers, you can actually store in these extra slots. So there's a few here, and then there's a whole row there in the back. Now these sides do open, so there's Velcro on the sides. So this whole thing, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of off camera, but I can't zoom it out anymore. But let me turn it this way, maybe this will help. But you can see that you can kind of flip through and you can take a look at all your markers this way, okay? Now this, it looks like this whole sleeve will actually come off. So if you wanted to remove just this middle sleeve, it looks like you can do that, and then you can bring this to your table or wherever you are crafting or coloring and just work with this sleeve. And then that just Velcros right back in there. And then here is the slots for additional markers that you can put in there. So let's just take a look real quick at one of these markers. And if you've seen my other video, you're probably pretty familiar with this, but these markers, they do have the Arteza name on here with the Everblend art marker name. And it also has a little picture here for the chisel tip, which the chisel tip is the thicker tip. So if you have a large space that you're coloring, you can use your chisel tip. And then it also has your nib, which is your smaller tip. So when you need to get into some fine areas to do your coloring, you have that. And then it does have the name of the marker as well as the marker number on both sides of the marker. And what's also neat about these markers is they're kind of like in a triangular shape, so they would lay flat on your table and they would not roll easily because they're not round, so they're not going to roll off your table. They have a flat surface that they can lay on your table with that flat surface. So that is what the marker looks like. And then they would just slide back in here. And again, I love this carrying case because it's just so convenient when you want to travel with these. Now it did come with this label. It was hooked to the side, which mine actually tore off, but it has all of the markers listed with their number as well as the color on them. So you can use these as a guide, but I always like to create my own swatch and actually swatch out all of the markers just to see a true color rather than looking at it on these sheets that come with the marker case. Because if I'm looking at the marker based on the papers that I'm using, it will give me a true color. So when I'm trying to decide what colors I want to use for my image, I will look at my swatch. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my swatch. So I went ahead and swatched out all 120 markers. So here are all of my swatches. Why don't I just go like this so that you can see all of the colors. Again, it had to go on 2 pages because there were so many of them. But I just want to point out, I do have my 60 count sheet over here. So let's see if I can zoom this out just a little bit. And let's just look at some of these markers. So this is the 60 count and this is the 120. So this is double the markers, but you can see right away with the pinks that you do get more pinks with the 120 count. So here's the 120 count. You can see all the pinks, and with the 60 count, you're probably limited to right about here. Okay, and then the reds for the 120 count, look at all the different reds. And then for the 60 count, you can see the reds here. Now I tried to put these in order the best that I could. The numbers on the markers are not the order that they should be in as far as blending. In fact, I did reach out to my Arteza contact, which she said that the numbers on the pens really don't mean anything. So I tried to match these up in some type of blending order as best as I could, and this is what I came up with. This is not necessarily the way that it should be as far as blending. You can definitely change these up a little bit and blend other colors as well. So here's some more pinks in the 60 count, okay? So some of the lighter pinks here, or I should say here, and then some of the oranges. So the oranges pretty much stay the same from the 120 to the 60 count. And then as far as the yellows, you do get a few more yellows, but I do believe that the yellows in the 60 count, there were quite a bit of yellows, but you do get a few more in the 120 count. And then if you take a look at the greens, so here's the greens in the 120 count, all of these. And then here you have some of these, and then these, which lead into some of the teals, which you can see down here in the 120 count, all of the teals that you get, which I really love the variety here because it does really go from light to mid tone to your darkest teal. Whereas if you look here, you only get about 4 teals in the 60 count. Okay, and then you have some blues here. The blues on the 120 count, you have some light blues where you only have a couple on the 60 count. And then let me go to the next page, and there's some more blues here on the 120 count. Now the purples, you do get a few more purples. So you can see this is the 60 count and this is the 120 count. So you do get a violet, which the violet's in both of them, but you get another purple. You get 2 more purples in here, which will allow you to blend these colors a little bit better. So in the 60 count, you can see you go from dark to light, which that would be a very difficult blend. And then in the 120 count, you get the dark, a medium, another medium, and then a light. Okay, and then the browns, I think the browns and the grays, when you're looking at the 120 count, really give you a lot, because in the 60 count, you can see the only browns you get are 3, and then you get a few grays here, whereas look at all of this in the 120 count. You get a lot of grays and a lot of browns. So if you're doing hair and you wanted to do some black hair with maybe some highlights, or if you're doing some brown hair or even some skin tones, you get a lot more choices in the 120 count. So I'm going to go ahead and color up a stamp. I went ahead and stamped out. This is Stamps of Life. It is the Rainbow to Stamp set. So I thought that the rainbow would be a good stamp to show some blending, because we'll be able to do a different color on each one of these pieces of the rainbow. I also stamped out the sentiment, "You make life colorful," so we can do some blending in that word. So there's a stamp set. I stamped it out onto some Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock, because you do want to make sure when you're coloring with alcohol markers that you use a paper that is supposed to be used with alcohol markers, because it will help with the blending of the alcohol in the marker. So you don't want to just use regular cardstock, because you'll have trouble blending your colors. So you want to use a special type of paper, and that's the paper that I use. I also stamped this out with the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, so you want to also make sure you're using a ink pad for your stamps that will not smear when you color with your markers. So it needs to be an alcohol proof ink pad. So I use the Memento Tuxedo Black. I also have the Spectrum Noir Noir Black Finesse ink, which I've used that as well. So I've also, just so you know, because we're going to be creating a card, I did take my stitched rectangle die and I die cut the Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock with the stitched rectangle die, and then I stamped everything in. So I'm going to go ahead and do some coloring, and I'll let you watch me color.
So for the reds, I'm going to be using 4 of the red markers, and I start out with my darkest towards the very bottom on both sides, and the darkest red I'm using is wine red, and the wine red is in both the 60 count and the 120 count set. I lead in with the ruby red and the tomato red, so all 3 of those reds are in both sets. I do come in with my lightest red, which is called red, and that particular color is only in the 120 count. And I also take those same markers and I'm going to go ahead and color up a couple of these letters in the word colorful. Again, same order, so going from dark to light. So I color up the C and the U. So you can see the blend there on the red colors in the rainbow, and it looks quite pretty, I think. Now the orange colors that I use are the colors that are in both sets of markers, both the 60 and the 120 count. So I am using the vermilion as my darkest, and I color that on both sides. I come in with the pumpkin orange and color those up on both sides, and then the apricot. So I'm using 3 colors there, and I also come down and color a couple of the letters in the word colorful. Now I did use these oranges also in a card that I made with the 60 count marker set. Again, I'm going to link that below. I colored up a scarecrow and I thought it looked really cute. I really like the oranges. I think that there are colors that blend very easily together. So I'm going to be coming in with some yellows, and again there were a large amount of yellows in both sets. I do come in with saffron yellow, which is my darkest. That though is only in the 120 count. Then I come in with my honey yellow. Again, the honey yellow is also only in the 120 count set. My next color is the bumblebee yellow, which that color is in both sets. And then the pineapple yellow as my very lightest color, and that color is only in the 120 count set. And you can see the blend there on the yellows. Again, I think that was really pretty as well. And then I come down and I color one of the letters down there in the word colorful. Same method. Then I come in with my greens, and for the darkest is my sea green, which that sea green color is only in the 120 count set. And then I'm going to come in with my forest green, followed by apple green, followed by pale green. And the last 3 colors are in both sets. So I want to add, just in case you're unclear, that the 120 count marker set is not 120 additional markers. They are just add-on markers to your 60 count set. So you will have some duplicates in the 120 count. So if you already have the 60 count and you purchase the 120 count, there are some duplicate markers. So it's not 120 extra, it's just some additional ones, 60 additional colors. Okay, so for the blues, I'm using denim blue as my darkest blue, which that blue is in both sets. The light navy blue is my next color, which that's only in the 120 count. And then I go into the sapphire blue, and then the Carolina blue, and then the powder blue. And the powder blue is in the 120 count set only, and that is my lightest blue right there in the middle. So you can see the nice variety of colors there in the blues. I think those make a great blend. And then for the purples, I use violet as my darkest. That color's in both sets. Then the orchid purple, which that is new to the 120 count. Then I go into the wisteria purple, which is also new to the 120 count. And then my lightest color is the lilac, which is in both the 60 and 120 count set. So you can see the nice range of colors that are in this rainbow, and I think the colors that this 120 count set has to offer is a nice choice for blending these markers. Now for the clouds, I didn't want to leave them completely white because they would look a little flat for me. So I decided to add some grays. So I'm adding some fog gray around the edges. I come in with the color clear water, which is a new color to the 120 count. That fog gray, the first color, is in both sets. And then after I put the clear water down, I do take my blender and I just kind of smooth out any harsh lines that the fog gray and the clear water have. So just kind of, the blender just kind of helps smooth out the lines. It does take color away, but it also helps smooth them out. So next I decide, because I want this rainbow to stand out a little bit more, I bring in some blue colors and just outline that rainbow. So I come in with my darkest sky blue, and that color is in both sets of markers, and just outline the whole thing. And then I come in with my pale aqua blue and I just outline that a little bit more. And then my last blue color is the Arctic blue, and go over that, and then I come in with my blender just to smooth out any lines that those markers may have. Next, I'm going to take that layer and I'm going to place it on a piece of licorice cardstock, which is measured 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then that entire layer will go on a strawberry A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then to finish up this card, I just add a few clear epoxy dots to the front.
All right, so there's my card. I just wanted to make that a flat card. Another option that you can do if you wanted to add some dimension, you can take your dies and die cut some of the clouds, and you can pop these up on some foam. You can add some ink to the edges of these, maybe some cloud ink, some of the light gray ink, and then pop these up. So that's another option, but I just wanted to make this a flat card because I really just wanted to show you the markers. So if you do like these markers and you decide that you want to purchase them, I would appreciate if you would use my affiliate links down below. I do get a small commission based on the sales. So again, it's at no cost to you. It only helps me out, and I would appreciate that. And I will go ahead and link the 120 count as well as the 60 count marker set. I will also link a video down below where I use the 60 count markers. So if you want to take a look at that, you can go ahead and do so. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.